Got somebody that wants to talk real quick.
My wife says you've been interviewing everybody, huh? I live streamed everybody's speech here.
Oh, did you?
Stand right there where you're at. Get in. Move that way a little bit so you can get your sign there. Thank you. Thank you. Nice to see you.
Okay, I just restarted the live stream. Let me just change my audio a little bit. All right. I'm here with Josh Randall, running for U.S. Senate. I missed you earlier. Sorry about that. But I did get your speech from the podium. So we'll cut that up. What separates you from the other candidates?
As I kind of said at the podium a little bit earlier, I'm a major sweeping change type of candidate. I think we need major change in Washington, D.C. right now. Excuse me. I talked about overhauling the Federal Reserve or eliminating it, decentralizing it. I talked about privatizing Social Security. I talked about privatizing Medicare. I talked about moving back to the states our Medicaid, food stamp programs. I think in general, if we're not trying to have major change, I'm one who believes that we can pay down the debt. There's a lot of work that I would do as a CPA that other candidates in this race either don't want to do or I don't think they believe is even possible, frankly. And maybe they'll say something different about that, but I don't know. From my conversations, I think a lot of what I've heard from other candidates in this race is that some of the things that I'm trying to do are ambitious, but frankly, if we don't have major change type candidates, I see us doing the same things we've done for decades. I consider Mike Lee to be a major change type of senator, somebody who I know he wanted to privatize Social Security. I know that he wants a balanced budget amendment. And I'm very much aligned with him, ideologically speaking. There's a few things that I would do in addition. In 2019, they passed a guaranteed back pay for furloughed federal employees. I would overturn that. I would have a trigger law of 15 to 25% mandatory reduction when we have a shutdown of government. I'm one who would embrace the shutdowns, but we have to get in a point fiscally where the shutdowns aren't actually hurting us anymore. Every year we get backed against the wall by moderates or liberals, by Democrats. They're saying, hey, pass this budget. You've got 48 hours to review it. If you don't pass this omnibus bill, the appropriations deadline will pass. The government's going to shut down. It's going to be your fault, Republicans, for doing that. And I'm saying we need to be prepared so that the shutdowns are not hurting us financially. That's different than a lot of candidates in this race. But it's required. It really is. If we are going to make the changes that we need to make in the culture and in the spending in D.C., we cannot be pushed against the wall every year with a looming deadline and a shutdown that pushes us into poor decisions. John Curtis will say, I don't think we should get paid as congressmen if we don't meet our appropriations deadlines and get something passed.
Well, John Curtis doesn't have to worry about getting paid. He made more money than Nancy Pelosi in the stock market in 2022, according to Unusual Whales. So I'm pretty sure he's pretty secure.
Yeah, he might be doing well off. That said, Trent Stagg says something similar to this. And what they would say is, like, we don't get paid if we don't get the bills passed, our appropriations bills on time. What I say is, I'm okay with not paying me if we don't meet a deadline. But what we have to do by the deadline is vote for a balanced budget. The appropriations have got to be below our revenues. So my approach with the appropriations is different. I'm a top-down. I would get rid of the 12-step process and have everybody in Congress involved with this. Utah does this. Our legislature, everybody in the legislature is involved. I would have the Senate and the House completely for the budget. This is something all of them need to be focused on. We start with $5 trillion a year. If that's the revenues that come in, we take care of our defense, our court system, our post offices, and our postal roads. And beyond that, everything else might grabs to be cut out of the question. Eliminated, privatized, or sent back to the states. I'm very much a 10th Amendment type candidate who says we got to get back to the states.
So are you gathering signatures to get on the ballot?
I'm not gathering signatures to get on the ballot.
Under convention only?
Convention only.
What do you think about those that are gathering signatures, dividing the vote in the primary against whoever the conventional nominee is?
It's going to help. It's going to help. I think the convention nominee is going to be along the lines of Mike Lee type of candidate, and we have some of the signature gatherers who are more moderate. I think some of them might call themselves more realists than I am. I think they've been at it a lot longer than I have. This is the first time I've run for office, and I think it's good to have somebody who is ready to go and put in the work. You get tired. People get tired. This is a dog-eat-dog type business, being in politics, and we need people who are fresh, in my opinion. And
what do you think about funding foreign wars?
Funding foreign wars, good question. Ukraine, I would stop funding it. Reasons being, we didn't begin with the end in mind. We didn't have an exit strategy before we started. I don't think that the benefits derived have been worth the costs. The cost in money and the cost in lives. Ukraine doesn't quite align with us as well. Some of our constitutional values, they haven't been as aligned as they should be. I don't consider them as much of an ally as Israel, ideologically speaking. So for me, I think the same of other countries in the United Nations or NATO. If I think of Turkey, for me, I'm not into supporting governments who aren't aligned with our Constitution or coalitions who aren't aligned with our constitutions. I'm an America First candidate. I believe we have a divinely inspired Constitution, our Declaration of Independence, and we can't put that on the shelf nor can we go spend on other countries when we need the money here at home. I mean, everybody says this in the Republican Party, but we're right about this issue. We have to do our own border first. We have to protect our own border. Israel, ideologically speaking, I really agree that Hamas needs to be done. I mean, Hamas needs to be out of power. If I was the Palestinian people, I would hope that they would turn on them as well, and they would help Israel to go after Hamas. So I think they're completely justified. I wouldn't keep funding it. United States, we don't have the money. Israel is doing what they need to do.
Would you support a government shutdown until our border is fully secured on the southern border?
I would support a government shutdown until we balance the budget and secure the border, both. I would support a long-term government shutdown. That said, when I say that, I also am pushing, I would push for mandates to go along with it. 15 to 25% mandatory cuts across the board for our discretionary agencies and employees, and I wouldn't pay furloughed employees. That's different. I want our shutdowns to help us financially. It's a little different approach.
John Curtis openly supports amnesty for illegal aliens, and he advocates for a system where they pay a fine as long as they don't commit any crimes, they become a citizen. What do you think about that?
Well, we have a disagreement on this, major disagreement, and I think he actually disagrees with the Utah Republican platform on this. Our platform. I am one. And we need to change the narrative on this. Amnesty, because we don't support amnesty doesn't make us racist, doesn't mean we're not humanitarians.